Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.
I'm appalled at what you said on that pod thing. It's disgusting.
This is the After the Show podcast. It's where we get honest and real with yo ass. So sit back, relax, have a blast, because it's time for the After the Show podcast.
Yeah, here we go. Happy Monday. Welcome to the KVJ After the Show podcast. Coming off of a fun little weekend. Not too shabby at all. Got to go down and see the opening day of Dolphins camp. They had been doing some practices, but they've been closed. The first open practice was on Saturday. They're going to be doing two open practices this Saturday and Sunday. Practices start at 10:45. I would just go check on the app just to make sure, maybe you do have to sign in, but there's no cost on doing that. We had done that last year, and then when we went down on Saturday, we got to see an exciting practice. A lot of energy, and Tyreek Hill, he is a new addition coming over from the Kansas City Chiefs, highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. Fastest as well. They call him the Cheetah. Caught a 65-yard touchdown bomb from Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback. Cheetah. Yeah, it's great stuff.
You don't waste too much of that in preseason, though. Save some for the real game.
No, you're right. But it was enough that definitely got people, their attention sparked up. And I don't know, somehow I'm on the Dolphins mailing list for buying season tickets. And, I'm not completely opposed to it, but the Queen's like, nah, we're not going to be doing that. That's crazy. She don't like making those kind of commitments. But it's good for that, when you do that, because I think I've already received 4 emails from them.
Oh,
being like,
wow.
hey, by the way, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. But, people will see that kind of stuff and be like, all right, there's excitement around. It sells tickets, So it's all about. So.
Would you be into would this turn you on if the Queen wanted to wear a Dolphins cheerleading outfit in the old bedroom? I'm not even saying you guys would have sex. She just walks in with it on. Is that something you'd be into or not your game?
Yeah, that's cute. Let's
Okay.
go for it. Yeah,
all right. But that doesn't sound like that's really tapping into the desires, the carnal desires of a Kevin Ralston.
Yeah,
Are you more of maybe like a librarian look?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I think you keep mixing it up.
All
I'm
right.
fine with it.
Why are you trying to figure out what you're going to wear over there?
I like to see.
He knows he's got a Dolphins cheerleading outfit, so he's got that taken care of.
He's got a librarian outfit.
I've wore the Dolphins outfit here before, and Ralston had a bone piece.
Yeah.
We all did.
Yeah, he's ready for it. And a big thanks to our friend Christian Wilkins. Got to do something for him, for the season.
Yeah.
It'd be fun. We got Christian Wilkins jersey, so put that on, and anything we can do to kind of up his cred. So, yeah, he's just a solid dude.
I know a lot of people that went on and bought Christian Wilkins jerseys after he came on here because they were like, oh my gosh, he's now my new favorite player just because he's so much fun.
He's just a good
Yeah,
human. He's a great guy.
I need to get one too. I definitely need to get a jersey from him.
He's got an energy and a vibe that you just like, okay, that dude knows how to have a good time.
Yeah, so I'd love to have him on more. He does lock it down for the season, so he kind of escapes everything and just puts all of his mind onto football, which hey, doing what he does.
You got to do it. I respect that.
But I do know he'd like to do more KVJ projects. I think one of these days he'd like to be in the KVJ horror movie.
Okay.
So I think
Wow.
he's one of those guys. He would be great in media when he one day decides to hang it all up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
charming.
acting and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, quick wit. He's funny.
He is very funny. He's got a very long career ahead of him.
You like humble, down to earth people, and he is that.
Yeah.
Anytime you see anybody with any kind of notoriety and they're like that, it's very cool to see.
Yeah, solid dude, top to bottom. So, going to be pulling for him in the Dolphins here this year. It's kind of interesting because Doug sent us an email just talking about the Dolphins practices and what it used to be like. And, now they have the open practice where you can go and see. But there's still berries. But I got to say, Tyreek Hill was really cool because at the end, you could see if you watch enough Dolphins game, the Dolphins diehards, they wear the teal and orange masks and all that kind of stuff. And they were down there calling for Tyreek, and he went over and signed
cool.
autographs and took photos with them. And
That's very cool.
he was super awesome. He really was. He's seems like he's excited to be a Dolphin. But Doug was saying back in the early days, I went to a Dolphins practice. Their very first year, this has been back in the 60s, they practiced at St. Andrews, and all the practices were open with no charge. You could walk onto the field and stand right next to the coaches as they ran practices.
Wow.
They had a wrestler, Wahoo McDaniels, on the team, and he showed up in full Native American dress. He was part Indian. This all ended, though, when Don Shula came to town. We went for his first practice, and McDaniels did not put on a show, and there was now a rope around the field.
Oh.
Yeah, some old guy went to step across the rope and walk onto the field, and Shula just turned and stared at him. He stopped mid-step and retreated back across the rope, so I guess that's when it all got serious.
Yeah, the fans shouldn't be allowed to go on the field during practice. I agree with Shula.
But back in the day, though, even with when the Braves were playing down here, you would find, like, I remember Dave Justice was such a big deal. He was dating Halle Berry. Even a Dave Justice that was in the Hollywood limelight, you'd see him walking out, and you could get to him. You could, if you waited long enough, you could find him. And there was one time he did not want to deal with anybody, ran right to his car and fucking sped off and almost hit people.
Oh my
Fuck
gosh.
Dave Justice, he's a dick.
Yeah, it's a different game. It really is. You know, the way that now they've got the 24-hour news cycle and sports channels dedicated to it, that all these athletes are so much more high profile now. And Doug said, yeah, the very next year they went to Fort Lauderdale and very few practices were open after that. And yeah, I remember the first Super Bowl they had. I don't think they sold out. Tickets were $12. It was like the crowd was sparse.
Can you imagine a $12 Super Bowl ticket?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Right.
I couldn't even imagine a $12 movie ticket these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just goes to
Nothing is
show you how it's changed.
$12.
Yeah.
You can't even park your car for $12.
No, you cannot.
Oh, fuck no.
Yeah.
I saw parking the other day for $30. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's so much stuff that it can get away from you. Boy, the cost of everything. We went to Hard Rock Casino afterwards. Want to kind of check that out. And my daughter goes there a good bit. You know, her buddy Justin that we had on. He works at Dare.
Okay.
That is there, and so he does stuff and music promotion and all that kind of stuff in the industry, and then helps do them with tables and all that. It's just a different world. Guess the cover charge to get into Dare. We're there because they do the day club, and that turns into a nightclub. So they have, and it was amazing how many people were going in, like 2 or 3 in the afternoon to a nightclub.
Huh.
$35.
What do you think, Virginia? Cover to Dare.
Cover to get in?
Yeah.
$50.
60.
Oh.
60 to get in, and then my daughter, when she was in there, she got one drink. It was kind of a mixed drink and a little tube thing. How much you think on that? One drink was kind of a
35 bones.
good guess. Virginia?
40.
52.
Oh, one drink?
You know, even when I was younger,
That's crazier than South Beach. Remember when I got 3
Yeah.
drinks on South Beach and the tab was
Right.
95 and I was losing my cool?
Yeah.
even when I was younger, I've never related to that cool kind of bar. Let me get in your fucking club. Let me dress nice and I've always hated it. I've never liked. I don't get it.
Yeah.
We know.
I fucking hate it.
Yeah,
wanna
it's-
fight it.
It's not your.
I want to fight
not your
it. I'm a pacifist. I
Yeah.
just think it's so shitty.
Yeah. Well.
Did you go in with Caitlin or she went by herself?
No, this is the time she and oddly enough, because she was with Saturday when we went to the Dolphins practice. I don't know how. God, I guess she's just young, because she had been at Dare the night before.
Okay.
And so she was there, and Fabulous came out. He's a hip hop guy. Been
Of
around for a while,
course.
actually.
I know Fabulous.
He came out. He played. What time do you think he took the stage?
Ooh. Is he going on Travis Scott time, which is 3 a.m.?
I'm gonna go 1A.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
go 1.
3.
What a dick.
3 a.m. He comes out for a live performance. My daughter was there till 5:30, and we picked her up in Boca, I think, at like 8:30.
Wow.
I would be so bummed out.
I would be dead.
if I am up
wouldn't
at
even live.
5:30 from the night before.
Yeah, I was going to go to bed Saturday night about 8:30 or 9 because I was really tired. And then my father-in-law showed up to play cards, and we were up till midnight or 12:30. I was about dead yesterday.
From
and
the cards.
And I didn't even drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
That
sitting
card will
there
get you, man. Those
stone cold,
cards.
just staying up till 12:30 I thought I was going to die yesterday.
Those card games, man, you start at 7p and you look
Yeah.
at your clock, it's 2a.
It's crazy.
It does. It goes by quick. The same thing with poker, man.
Yeah. The one thing that did kind of stand out, because I haven't really been to the Hard Rock for a while, we had Cannon with us. He's 14. Is, because we're like, we've been wanting to go down there and spend a weekend, especially this time of year when maybe things are a little bit cheaper, even though
They're
the nightclub
supposed to
isn't.
be, but they're really not.
They're really not. No, and that's. I
They
think
used
that's,
to be.
I think that's why we've kind of put it off, because we keep looking at room rates. We're like, okay, is it ever going to get more affordable than this? And the other thing about it too is when you got kids, it's not kid friendly. There's a lot of places, and I forgot about that. That we went. They have a new Hard Rock sports bar. And there was another one that looked like a really cool-ass sports bar, and they got golf simulators in there. I mean, the renovations that they've done on the Hard Rock is absolutely amazing. But we just went and we're sitting down there to get, all of us are going to get a drink, and they're like, sorry, he's underage. And I'm like, it was just a sports bar. But, it's not like they're doing anything. They had some card games inside, but it was just kind of crazy. And it kind of brought to light, I forgot about that, the kids, in a place like that, a 14-year-old, not even young kids, a 14-year-old.
Right.
Can's about my height. That they're
a
not
shame.
allowed really anywhere in there. There's not a lot for them. You can do the pool, but that's just about it.
They don't have food in there. Like usually in a sports bar where there's food, you can bring your kid.
You couldn't in the sports bar. They have the restaurants that are fancier and sit down that maybe they could go into that, but that's not going to be a cheap meal. We weren't at the time wanting to sit down and be like, I'll take the French fries for $80 and,
Would you like cheese sauce? Yes, that'll be $120.
Right.
They have a caviar restaurant there that is pretty fantastic.
You walk in, you automatically owe them $80 just for walking in.
You breathed our caviar air, it's $80.
The witch was
Yeah.
eating some caviar today, and I'm not going to lie, it smells like fucked. It is not. It smells like grossness.
I had a little tiny bit left over from the weekend because it was my birthday.
Yeah.
So I went crazy. And
she was eating them with those, and I don't know if I'm the only one that thinks this. Ruffles makes a chip. It's sour cream and cheddar, and it smells so bad. It smells like poop.
Yeah.
Ruffles sour cream and cheddar are delicious. And that's the thing now. You eat caviar with potato chips.
Everyone loves those chips. Denny's loves them. They smell something fierce though. They don't smell right. They smell like a poopy foot.
Yeah, there's a lot. They should have a fart, just a warning. And especially with some of the chips, as soon as you open the bag, it's like you've just farted. It's a fresh fart. And the smell, and people are like, what is that? And
But
you're
they
like,
taste good though.
They taste
But they
delicious.
smell horrific.
yeah.
Those are some of my favorite chips. The
Yeah.
only chip that's better is Zapp's.
Oh,
I love Zapp's.
Zapp's is a really good chip. The
agree.
voodoo chip.
The voodoo is great. I like the plain. They got a jalapeno that's good. They got the Cajun crawfish taters. Those are good.
People are getting it twisted. I'm not saying that sour cream cheddar chip isn't good. It tastes good. It smells fucking terrible.
Sure, yeah.
It smells, what'd you say? Shit foot?
It smells like a poop foot.
So, yeah, with going around the Hard Rock, that was the thing I just didn't get. Having a kid sit there and watch people play cards, how is that damaging to the eyes of a 14-year-old?
It's gambling, and supposedly kids, when they're young and impressionable, they can't be exposed to gambling because then it'll make them grow up want to be gamblers.
Yeah.
Whatever. My dad taught me gambling
Right.
at age 8. I do not have addiction problems.
Well, and I think I'm set, yeah.
That was sarcasm.
I'm set a lot more to, let people decide for themselves. Let people have freedom. I don't know if you call them libertarians or whatever, but that's typically my thing. And, also I'm a really bad dad. But, for me, I'm all about, hey, why are we having rules? Because I saw that and I was like, it was so silly that you got to get them away. And somebody had a deck of cards. I was like, oh my gosh, my kid is 100 feet away from a deck of cards. Oh my gosh. And we
It's
go
not
and
like
play cards all night.
You're not
Yeah.
showing clitties and titties.
Yeah, and so but this really is kind of the forefront of the argument now, is where they come up with laws about what we can and can't expose our kids to, and so many of them are hypocritical. And I was just reminded that I forgot about all the gambling things, but oh my gosh, your kid can't do that. They have rules about, we'll go to sports bars a lot of times and we want to sit at the bar. Like, oh, your kid can't sit at the bar. I'm like, what? He's going to grab somebody's drink and just start throwing him down his throat? Like, I'm his parent. I'm gonna watch to make sure he doesn't. If he does something goofy, it's on me. I'm the damn parent.
He sees somebody playing cards, and all of a sudden he's Pete Rose. He wants to let it all ride.
Yeah. So for me, I'm typically I just think there's a lot of silly things, but then you'll see things where kids are in these violent or tough rated R movies, and they're young kids, and yet you're okay to do that. And we were talking about the drag shows going on at the the R House in Wynwood. And Sandra had sent this in. She said, I love you guys, but I couldn't disagree more when I hear Virginia say that this is okay for kids to be around. If this isn't explicit for children to witness, I don't know what is. And it shows one of the kids with one of the drag queens with pasties on there. And what you see, and that's a small child, maybe 2 or 3, probably 3 is the kid. And, and that's, I guess, what goes on there. I'm
a little more loose.
Yeah, I know we all are, but to me, it just seems like some things are whack. That my kid can't sit in the Hard Rock Sports Bar, but as it is right now,
you can see some titties and possibly even some clitties.
Yeah.
My dad was here this weekend, so we were kind of talking about what it was like growing up. I grew up in New Orleans, and we used to go to this Catholic church in a town called Gretna, where basically the Catholic Church kind of ruled the roost. The Catholic Church in that neighborhood did whatever they want. My dad reminded me that every time they would have the fair, the Catholic school fair, it was a big fundraiser, they took the whole cafeteria area and turned it into an illegal gambling hall. And the cops were standing detail outside. They worked for the school fair to protect and make sure that nobody robbed the place. But literally, they were running an illegal gambling operation in the school cafeteria, and it was all just,
wow.
Hey, it's just how it is.
Yeah.
I got into some trouble in 8th grade betting on the Braves being in the World Series. I was making all these bets. It was the first time they'd been in the World Series, and I was like, they're going to fucking win. I mean, I was the biggest Braves fan, and I made all these bets with all these guys in 8th grade, and then they lost.
Oh.
And guess who had to come to my rescue? And Juicy Daddy.
The Juicy Daddy saved you.
I would say he was happy. We had a lesson about betting and gambling at that point.
Yeah.
Don't bet more than you can afford to lose.
Yeah, my pride was on the line. I'm like, you're fucking saying the Braves aren't going to win? Oh, they're fucking winning. $50.
Yeah, so I just think it's interesting. I think things will start to shift a little bit more, but where we kind of draw the lines, it feels like the line's a little crooked. How we're drawing like, okay, can't do the casino things, titties okay here. It's like just
bottom line,
the line feels very self-serving.
Everyone's a hypocrite no matter any way you cut it. Everybody walking the planet is a hypocrite.
Right.
If you break it down.
Yeah. And so like you said, we're all pretty much set a little bit more loose, and I'm like, hey, give people freedom, and they got to live with the consequences.
Like I said,
your kid winds up some kind of, pothead with the gambling addiction, then that's your issue.
I said it last week. You and your kid go to hell for all I care.
Well, my dad didn't realize at that same Catholic school fair was where I learned to pour beer as a first grader. So I told him that over the weekend.
Right.
He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. They didn't trust the kids with the money. So the kids weren't allowed to collect the money at the beer booth, but the kids were allowed to pour beer. And that's how I learned to pour a perfect glass of draft beer.
I was thinking, because I knew your family was in town, so I was thinking about you over the weekend, Virginia. And you always talk about the nudist colony and how that kind of fucks with your head. Has that been something you've ever talked to your dad about or ever brought it up? Or does anybody ever bring that up?
No.
Or is it one of those things that just kind of went away awkwardly?
It kind of went away awkwardly. I think everybody realized this is a little weird.
And if you were to bring that up to your dad, how does he handle it?
I wouldn't.
Really?
No, I don't want because I don't want to make him feel bad.
Not feel bad, just kind of more of just curiosity.
I think he would probably feel bad and be like, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
That was the 80s.
It was the 80s.
But at the same time, there's no law against that.
No.
And that's
you
why
can still do it today.
That's why I would say it's nothing that he did that was being, illegal or anything. That's why I just know I would ask my dad about that, but you said you wouldn't be able to.
It's just 70s parent weird. But it's not illegal, and there are still parents that do it today.
Yeah.
It's just weird to me.
But you make that argument, say, how can that be in bounds, but the drag show at our house can't?
Right.
So that's just where they got to figure this line out, because it's this wavy line of how we're putting some things in bounds, and oh no, it zigs this way to let that out of bounds. That's in. It's just it doesn't feel right.
The people that make the points always going to hide under the umbrella. Well, this is sexual in nature. This is not sexual in nature. But then, who decides that as well?
That's why I thought when a kid can't sit 100 yards away from a deck of cards in a sports bar, oh my gosh, no.
Who made that rule?
Right. Why? That's out of bounds.
It's weird.
But taking your kid to a nudist colony inbounds.
And it's probably because of liability reasons why. They don't want to get fucking sued. You know how this shit goes.
And I would understand if it's the establishment themselves, because somebody said, having a kid sit at the bar, adults are going to be annoyed by that. And if they're like, look, it's our policy, it's not a law. But I know a lot of times the bars will be like, oh, no, it's a law. We can't. I'm like, why can I do it everywhere else or other places?
It's a law today, but tomorrow it might not.
Yeah, so if it's their own business saying, look, we get too many complaints with kids at the bar. People don't want to sit next to a kid at a bar. I would get that. That I'm cool with.
The way I look at it is if you know your kid's in an adult situation and it's your kid and I'm drinking and I'm getting turned. It's the time that it happened at Denny's. We're at the ale house and Denny's got called out for saying the F word too many times. This was past 8 o'clock at night at a bar, and a parent had some bullshit to say.
What are you going to do?
Fuck yourself, get a bar.
I mean, you can only control yourself and where you are. You can't control other people, and don't try to.
Exactly.
We're not in a society where that's going to happen anymore. If you don't like what's going on,
remove yourself.
Then remove yourself. And if I'm a manager of that place, it's my position to step up and say, hey, this is a family restaurant. If you're going to keep saying those kind of words, we're going to have to ask you to leave. That's their place to say something, and they're in right to say that. If they don't want people F-bombing up their family restaurant, then I get that. They can step in.
Well, it's kind of like when somebody that has kids will say something about our show. You guys shouldn't be saying that. Bird, how could you say that? Kids are listening, or whatever the situation. We've all heard that before. And my whole thing is, fucking, at that point, if you don't like what I'm saying or what Virginia's saying as your parent, maybe talk to your kid right there. Hey, don't be like Jaybird. I don't like the way Jaybird's talking. I don't want. Have a fucking teachable moment. But you can't say this shit.
Well, the way it is, we put out the product we put out, and you decide if it's right for you or for your kids. I would not.
Yeah.
I don't, my son Cannon doesn't know about this, and I wouldn't introduce him to this.
It's weird. All this shit that I don't like, and I'm a little old fashioned. I turn it off.
Yeah.
And move on with my
agree.
day.
And don't think about it again.
That's how we parent. I'm not going to tell them how to do their show or what kind of programming to do. They do what they do, and then we decide if we're going to consume it or not, and that's on me.
I mean, there's a lot of shitty things. When you go out in public, there's going to be a lot of stuff you don't agree with.
Yeah.
A lot.
That's it. That's kind of the way it goes. So, yeah, I don't understand how we run some of these things, but, one issue that we had gotten into today, and that was filming people. We had somebody who their neighbor was filming their wife while they're out washing the car, and they do it when she goes out to get the mail and stuff like that. She just feels she's uncomfortable in her own home.
It's
and
weird.
They just moved in there 6 months ago, and he's like, is this guy showing predator-like behavior? Is he gonna try to break into my house when my wife is here and assault her? You don't know what's going on.
Is he uploading this weird footage on an odd site?
Yeah, and somebody was saying we had the same problem with our neighbor for 3 years, and they finally got in trouble with the authorities somehow, and they text in later. I think they're hanging dildos in their tree.
What?
And somebody came up, and you're just like, yeah, what is that? That's just odd.
Dildos in the tree.
Yeah.
You just got to be careful. When you're trying to be weird and odd towards somebody, you just never know when you're going to get a weirder fish.
Yeah, and with that, because that's out in public, I think they're like, you can't be hanging dicks out of your tree with, where kids are driving around and all that. Yeah.
There should be some sort of ordinance.
It comes back down to is it sexual or is it not? Dildos, I would go ahead and put in the sexual category. Again, call me old-fashioned.
Just a dick tree is what they had out there.
I am a fan of a dick tree, but not with kids.
The only thing better than a dick tree
Right.
is a hot dog plant.
Yeah. It does feel off. And, and to that point about going into our house or whatever, My thing would be if I'm there, okay, whatever, do whatever content you're going to do. If I saw a kid, I would feel uncomfortable and I would leave.
Yes.
Right.
And so
Exactly.
them doing that would hurt their business because I'd be like, all right, this is making me feel weird. I got to get the hell
And
out
you
of
have
here.
every right to feel
Yeah.
that way. You don't have to
Right.
go there
I'm not
with
going to
your
tell
kid.
our house to
Yeah.
shut down what they're doing, but I'm going to be like, all right, this ain't right for me. I'm out of here.
On something like this, I'm on whatever you feel like doing, whatever
Yeah.
the fuck you want to do with your fucking kid. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Somebody wants to do it with their kid, that's fine. They ain't going to have it with mine. I'm going to get the hell out of here. But Caitlin, who we know, she said, I was listening to the discussion about videoing somebody's heartfelt moment and posting it. I also heard V say that once you're out in public, you're fair game. But the experience I have, and I had this morning, a guy wanted to take my photo because I'm a little person and nothing else. And now I don't know what he would have done with it, or nor do I care. And as I was leaving, I was called a jerk and rude for not doing it and posing for the photo.
What a fucking asshole. And I'm not talking about Caitlin. I'm talking about the guy that is asking for the photo.
That's weird. You know, people are just bizarre.
Well, he's trying to.
Yeah, well,
he's
look-
making you feel awkward.
Yeah, if somebody
Fuck that
asks me to
guy.
pose, I'm not going to pose for a photo. I'll be like, no.
Oh, ask me to
no.
pose. I'll pose all day.
Yeah. And they
Well,
said,
but I want the. I'll give you some
Oh,
shit.
I have 3 poses ready to go at any given moment.
But Caitlin was going about her day, and this person was being an asshole. They just want your picture because you're a little person. You're being an asshole.
yeah. She said, so shouldn't I be respected enough not to have my photo taken or a special moment recorded of me without my knowledge and posted? Yeah, I would think so, and that's why we talk about, you know, the column house. We talk about what should and should not be allowed in society, and I think it's rude. It is completely rude if you take somebody's photo and you're going to post it out without their permission. Now, if you see something and you take a video and you record or whatever, I think the polite and the right thing to do by societal standards is to say, this was touching to me, or I love this, and hopefully it's a way that's celebrating them or the moment. Do you mind if I post this on my social media? If they're like, no, I'd love for that. That's great. Then you've done it right.
And what sucks about the Caitlin situation that you're just reading about, Caitlin is right. She should have the right to not want to post for a picture and all that. Unfortunately, the law
Yeah.
says, fuck that, and I think it's wrong. I don't think it's cool when you're filming somebody and then you're posting it and they don't want to.
Well, and that's why, unlike when we do call them outs, the only power that we really have is to say, you know what, you can by law, but you're kind of an asshole if
Yeah.
you do. So if you're
Right.
okay saying to the rest of the world, you know, I'm an asshole and I don't care about any of you all, that's what you're doing. We've let you know that this is an asshole move, but hey, if you're just cool with being an asshole, be an asshole.
Some people love being an asshole. I mean, that's what that whole thing I watched on Netflix yesterday, the most hated man on the internet. He was deliberately trying to be an asshole.
and he loved it.
He loved it. And when you're dealing with somebody like, you're dealing with a terrorist. They
you
don't,
are.
They don't have any humanity to them. So you're not playing with the same set of rules.
Yeah.
You have to kind of, I hate to say it, turn nukes on someone like that.
Don't ruin it, but at the end, does he get it? Does he get some? Is there some justice, or am I going to be mad?
No, I think you will. I think you'll be all right.
There'll be
with it.
justice?
Yeah, I don't want to ruin it for anybody. It is newer on Netflix, but it's really good, and it really ties in with everything we're saying. People, and that is at the worst level because they
Right.
were hacking into women's accounts and posting pictures of them naked, even when women weren't sending it to people.
Wow.
I mean, have you ever taken a naked picture by yourself and never sent it? Just to see what you look like. Some people do that.
Not with my face attached to it, but yeah.
Some people do that.
I know a lot of people do that.
And even if you do send it to somebody and you're under the impression that it's just me and you and I trust you, they're the fucking worst for sending that out to somebody.
First of all, don't make the mistake of trusting anybody.
I've made the mistake a couple
No
times.
one
there-
should be trusted.
eventually my dick will be out there. It'll be not impressive. It will at least get a good bit out of it.
I'll pay top dollar. If there's any chicks out there right now,
Well, you think you trust somebody and then you realize, oh, fuck.
there's no
damn.
trust.
I don't want to live in that world, but fuck, I think you're right.
Somebody texted in, they said, you're talking about where you take kids and what should be allowed. And they said, how about taking a kid to a college football game and the college kids are F-bombing constantly? That doesn't seem right for me not to be comfortable taking my family to support the home team.
Such is life, my friend.
Yeah, I'll
I
tell
don't
you,
know what to tell you.
that's just the way it is, and you've got to decide. Look, I've been there with, my son Cannon. He was growing up. We go to a ton of college football games, and you're going to hear bad language. Now, there are some stadiums where you can text in a number to ushers if somebody's being unruly, and they can come up if somebody's too drunk or they're swearing too much, and they can say something, and they can handle it based on the policies of the stadium. And, a lot of times they will, but if you're going to hear a couple F-bombs. We went one time. My son went to the University of Michigan, and I'm a big Ohio State fan, and Ken and I were both wearing Ohio State gear, and we're walking through the streets of Ann Arbor, and Ohio State had just beaten the shit out of Michigan, and it was fun.
Oh, boy.
And as we're walking along, all these people in maize and blue, they're coming up, "Fuck Ohio!" And, and they were screaming it right in mine and Cannon's faces.
Oh,
And
boy.
he was probably, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 at the time, and they're getting in a kid's face, and these are adults saying "fuck Ohio," and
Aren't you sort of glad that sort of happened so you could tell him,
Yeah,
hey, man,
he's-
this sometimes happens out in the world.
he's grown up around it. He's heard a lot of bad language. I don't know if I've ever heard the kid say a bad word. He's 14, and he doesn't swear, and he heard it. And
Other
his
than, fuck you, Dad.
And his sister, Caitlin, was like, she would jump because she's very defensive. Her and the queen are defensive of anybody in the family. And they were jumping in his face. And she was like, "Fucking loser." And so she got up in these guys' faces. I'm like, oh, great. Caitlin's going to throw down the streets of Ann Arbor.
Get him, Caitlin.
But yeah, I mean, we love college football, but I knew that was part of it. You're just not going to keep people from doing that. Now, your approach would be, look, they will set up. I know enough about college football where they'll have really set family areas. You can go to pep rallies and do all that kind of stuff. It's very family friendly, and they're going to control and make sure people aren't using serious swear words. But when you get in the stands, you're going to hear that, or walk in the streets of Ann Arbor and you're an Ohio State fan. People are going to say the F word to you.
Well, complaining about a college game and swearing in language is kind of like complaining about, I went in the swimming pool and you know what? I got wet. Someone splashed me. You're going to get a little wet when you go in the pool. You're going to hear some fucking fuck bombs when you go to a college football game.
That's just the way it is. You're not going to stop that.
And your kid will be okay, too.
Yeah. Like I said, you can have a kid that can hear that kind of language his entire life, and at 14, he's not really swearing. So it can happen. Let me see. Other stuff that we got here. Kind of a call them out about the Bright Line. Jeff had sent this in, just a little proof supporting Brightline's case. I was behind this common sense dropout the other day. Darwin's rule really is one of those that will be applicable to all humanity throughout its existence. And they were driving right underneath and through the railroad crossing beam that had come down. They were under it and said, screw it.
Maybe they had poopygrams? I don't know.
But it goes to show you how many red lights they're looking at. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 red lights in that photo. Do you think that would tell you not to go?
I mean, dude.
There are 8 red lights staring you in the face. I don't know what that means.
I think we should go.
Yeah. People are still going there. People want to bitch about the Bright Line. So come on.
They do. It's so weird.
Well, that's why, you know what? The world is what it is. It's about accountability. You're going to see a lot of things in life. You can see a lot of bad things and still grow up a well-adjusted human being and not dip yourself into that same stuff.
The accountability is something that
Right.
is definitely a problem. I think a lot of people maybe create issues and then,
It's always someone else's fault.
someone else's
I'm this way
fault.
because of somebody else. Accountability. That if we had to name this podcast thing today, it's accountability.
I love it.
All right, y'all. Thanks for the emails. Mail at kvjshow.com. Have a great Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Goodbye.
Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.